HB 2382. We'll open that up with a reviser's overview by Tamara Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, committee. House Bill 2382 would amend KSA 72253 regarding State Board of Education member compensation. Currently, the statute provides that the daily rate of compensation for Board of Education members is to be the same as members of the legislature, as established in KSA 46137A. However, when the Legislative Compensation Committee study and report ultimately resulted in an increase in legislative compensation, it did so without amending that statute. So the state board's compensation, which had been historically tied to legislator compensation, is now different because of how that change came about. So House Bill 2382 would set the state board's compensation to roughly align with the legislature's in-session daily compensation. Specifically, the bill would establish the daily compensation rate for state board members for regular board meetings at $286.81 per calendar day. And for any other in-state meeting, it would be $286.81 per calendar day for the first 12 calendar days and $172 per calendar day for any additional days. The bill would take effect on July 1 upon publication in the statute book. This bill did pass the House on a vote of 115 to 7, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Committee, what questions do we have for the reviser? Senator Petty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tamara, so on that rate that's set when beyond 13 days, can you expound on how that was determined?
It's my understanding that, and you guys might know more about this than I do, that legislative pay is sort of front-loaded based on the session, and this is sort of to align with a similar mathematical equation based on how you guys are paid throughout the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Senator Gossage.
Tamara, I'm just a little confused in that the way that the private board or commission or whoever it was determined the salary for legislators, it's not based on a per diem, right? It's based on an annual salary. So I'm trying to understand how the per diem part came in.
So I believe it's just broken down to essentially match what it would be per diem. If the legislative pay were broken down by day, that's what it would be, my understanding.
I think if you take that times 12 months, that it doesn't end up being per diem. That would be too much. Maybe one of the conferees could address it. Nope, we don't have conferees. Okay.
Senator Thomas, did you care to weigh in?
Yeah, the way I understand with our legislative pay is we still get a per diem while we're in session, which is typically front-loaded. So I think if I read the bill correctly, that per diem that we're still currently getting, that subsistence pay, is the basis for the formula for this, right?
That is my understanding. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Other questions for the reviser? So my only question would be, can you explain the, if I'm looking right, an average of 78 days worked? How does the state board determine the number of days they are paid? I know they're up here in Topeka a couple days a month. Can you kind of talk through how the number of days correlates to what we're seeing here?
I can't speak specifically to that. What I can say is that the bill is specific to regularly scheduled meetings of the board, and it's based on calendar day. I'm not exactly sure how and why they set the meetings the way that they do.
Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think just from talking to a couple of board members, there are certain things that the state board does, certain places where they're required to be, meetings they're supposed to go to, sometimes local, sometimes out of state. And my assumption would be that that's part of the 72 days compensation, is those meeting days is included as well as the regularly scheduled state board meetings. Just my assumption, but.
Senator Argybright.
Thank you and welcome back, Madam Chair. They're also assigned committees, and so they are traveling from time to time, and I'm sure that's part of that, those days also.
Thank you, Senator Petty.
And this is a question for Tamara. So Tamara, I'm going to make an assumption here that this is, since they were not included in the bill dealing with legislative pay as they had been in the past, and that this is addressing that issue, that the number of days here would be based on past practice.
I can't speak to that.
I'm seeing a nod from a friend in the audience. Thank you.
Committee, any other questions? If not, thank you so much. Committee, we do not have any oral conferees. However, I will draw your attention to proponent written only from Kathy Hopkins, who is the chair of the State Board of Education, and Danny Zeck. They are the liaisons to the legislature from the Kansas State Board of Education. So please note their written proponent testimony. There's no opponent. So with that, we will close the hearing on House Bill 2382 and turn our attention to working some bills. And I'm going to qualify that with if anyone is planning on bringing an amendment and would want to wait to work any particular bill as we go through, please let me know, and I'm happy to accommodate that. But I do want to start with House Bill 2120. 2120, and we'll have a quick overview from our reviser, Tamara Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 2120 would authorize the State Board of Regents to sell and convey certain real estate in Riley County, Kansas, and Douglas County, Nebraska, on behalf of Kansas State University and the Kansas State University Veterinary Medical Center.
Any questions on that? Okay, I will entertain a motion. Senator Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we pass out House Bill 2120 favorably.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Senator Sykes?
Just a question. I thought there was maybe a technical amendment that needed to be done on this one.
Yes, we'll take the amendment. Yes, Senator Starch. Have a second. Discussion or any amendments on this bill? I believe we do have one. So I know we have one. So we will get that passed out. If I were on the floor, I'd have the reader read, but since we're not, I will ask the reviser to please summarize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you'll recall, in the testimony from the representative from K-State during the hearing on this bill, he did indicate that currently the way the bill is drafted, it is considered one tract of land, and the university would like the opportunity to split that into two different tracts and sell it as two tracts. So if you look on page 2 of the bill, it strikes the current description of the property. That goes on to page 3, and at the end would include two different descriptions of property in paragraph 1, and then a little more than halfway down, paragraph 2 would describe the second tract of land.
Committee, any questions? Senator Gossage.
Oh, I'm sorry. I now see it's 2 paragraphs. So it's 1 in parentheses and then 2 in parentheses. I missed it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion on the amendment? Senator Thomas?
I would like to move the amendment.
We have a motion, seconded by Senator Gossage. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor? Say aye. Aye. No? Motion passes. Are there any other amendments to the bill? Seeing none, we'll need a motion to pass the bill as amended. Senator Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the committee pass out House Bill 2120 favorably as amended.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Senator Starnes? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. That bill passes out of committee. Thank you for your work on that. Next, we'll turn our attention to House Bill 2102. If we could get just a refresher on that from our reviser, Tamara Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 2102 would enact a new section of law that would require school districts to enroll any military student prior to the student physically residing in Kansas. If the student provides evidence that the student's parent or person acting as parent would be stationed at a military installation in Kansas. The second thing the bill does is amend the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children to correct an incorrect federal citation.
Committee, any questions? Do we have any amendments on this bill? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Senator Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the committee pass out House Bill 2102 favorably.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Murphy. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2185. Again, Tamara with a review of that bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 2185 would amend two educational assistance programs directed at the National Guard. First, the National Guard Educational Assistance Act would be expanded to include dependents of National Guard members. The second thing the bill would do would be expand the MERGE program to include other graduate degree programs other than a master's degree.
Committee, any questions on this bill? Any amendments to this bill? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the committee pass out House Bill 2185 favorably.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Rose. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We will now turn our attention to House Bill 2033 with a review from our reviser, Tamara Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 2033 would amend KSA 725153 to include in the list of at-risk education programs and services provided by nonprofit organizations accredited by the International Multisensory Structured Language Education Council.
Questions on this bill? Senator Starnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not so much a question, just a response. I believe that the Kansas Board of Education and the State Department of Education should be the ones making these decisions and not left to us legislatively.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Argabright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will agree with Senator Starnes. I do believe they have an evidence-based process that they go through that was started, I think, because of legislative requirements, and so we need to let them follow those requirements and make sure these type of programs are vetted properly. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion? Senator Thomas.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we pass out House Bill 2033 favorably.
Okay. I think we're on, unless I'm wrong, 2120. Nope. It is 2033. I'm going to blame it on my illness.
Yeah,
Okay,
you had me thinking it was.
I am so sorry. Okay, House Bill 2033. We were on such a roll, I was just marking them off. Okay. We have a motion is seconded by Senator Rose. Any discussion on Senator Gossage?
No, I'm taking into consideration what two of our members have said here. I looked at the opponent testimony, but it says from Kansas Association of School Boards, but I didn't see anything provided by the State Board of Education. So there was no opponent testimony from them, correct?
I don't believe there was. I see, no, I believe that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. Motion passes. Okay. I know why I thought it was 2120. That's the one we just, nope. Nope, nope. That's right, 2382. I went out of order. 2382 is the one we heard today. And I would, since we are on a roll, without objection, I would ask if it's okay if we work that. If there is objection, we can pass over until another day. But is there objection to working that bill today? The one we just heard. 2382, I'm getting my numbers correct. If there's objection, we can certainly wait, or if the committee would like more time, I'm fine with that. Okay, I am hearing objection, so we will just take that up. Please be prepared tomorrow. We do have a hearing on one bill tomorrow, and then we will pick up where we left off on working bills. So let me know if you need any more time on working on amendments. I know our schedules are very tight, so I don't want to rush anyone. We do have a little time, so if you are planning on working in, bringing an amendment, please let me know, and we do have a little time. We don't need to rush quite as bad, so. Okay, and I was just informed that since we did announce a hearing on Senate Bill 275, you can submit testimony until 9 a.m. So give you a little extra time since we just made that adjustment on the agenda. So please know we'll have some flexibility with getting testimony in. Is there any other business before the committee? Wow, we did a lot of work in a short amount of time. So thank you, committee. With that, we are